Welcome to another Tr6 parts video. Welcome to part 1 of engine removal. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove out the engine out of this car because we're going to rebuild it. Long story short, it came in leaking oil, leaking fluid, fuel. It's a bit of a disaster. It's quite filthy, so it's time to freshen it up. Anyway, so what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go through different videos on how to remove it. There's a couple of ways you can do it. You can either take the whole lot with the transmission in one go, or you can split it and take just the engine out and leave the transmission behind, and if you want to, you can always remove that afterwards. I like the latter of taking the engine out just on its own because I don't like the angle in which it goes. Me personally, it's one thing if you're taking an engine out, but I don't like putting it back in because if you're not rebuilding the engine, you're just taking it out for some reason. The problem is though, you have such an angle, it's like 70 degrees if not more. I can guarantee this fluid going somewhere it's not meant to go. It's not meant to be that high. That's why I personally don't like it, unless it was completely drained of all fluid and everything. But again, you'd still have coolant in the canals and everything, so I just like disconnect it and bring it straight up. Okay, so where are we going with this? This one here, we're going to go, this video alone, we're going to go on the hood removal. So before we get stuck into anything, obviously we want to get the hood out or the bonnet, and it allows us access to everything. As you can see though, I've already taken some parts off this. So when it came in, I took the rocker off, I took the valve cover off, and I took the distributor to have a look and see where I was going with it. And yeah, as you can see, I have a little box down here with some parts in it. And I see something that I don't like to see. Anybody notice it? Let me zoom in and show you. Look at the valve cover. Silicone. Who puts silicone on an engine? Yes, that will get rectified. So, yeah, I don't like silicone. Some people may vouch for it and it works for them. That's fine. I'm not here to say that you shouldn't do it. I personally don't like it because I don't think it works. Okay, so let's get stuck. Actually, sorry, one more thing. Before we get stuck in, I want to show you something. So, storage. I'm going to give you a tip on how to store like your hood, your door, your trunk. I have to say that now, and boot bonnet door. So let me show you this. When you take it off, you always run the same problem. Is that you take it off and you wonder, you have to place it down and like, oh well, the edges might get scratched or damaged or dinged or something like that. Yes, that happens and it's a worry. So here's a cure for it. Pool noodles. Now this is a bit of a pool noodle, to be honest. It obviously was that colour when we first got it, and obviously out in the sun it's gone down. Anyway, the point of this is that when you go to take it off, or you do take it off, and you're storing it for a bit if you're doing some work, take a pool noodle, and again, just slice it down, and obviously it's going to be longer, and all you want to do is, let me move the camera, is place it over the edge. So just like that over the edge, and as you can see, it grips in nice and tight. All you have to do is, you can pull it obviously right all the way around, and you can just tape it together and it will stay there, like, but it's not necessarily falling off. But yeah, tape it together and it stays there. And then you have all edges protected. You can put it down anywhere and you won't scratch the paint. So if you are taking your stuff off and storing it, use some pool noodles. Like I said, this is only a piece of one. This is just to demonstrate what you to do. Yeah, worst case you get a bit of fluff in it, but I'd rather that than ding it. Anyway, okay, that goes in the box. So that's my tip on storage out of the way. Let's go back to the hood and remove it. Alright. So we're going to remove the hood. In order to remove that, we need to gain access down here to the grille. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the stay bars. You don't have to remove them. You can just take them off here, loosen them and flip them back. If you want to take them off, it's a personal choice. We're going to take the shroud off, and we're going to take the front grille off, and then that will allow me access to, basically we're going to drop the bonnet down and then gain and take the nuts out from here. Hinges stay behind. If you're ever taking it off, never take the hinges off unless you're doing restoration work and you have to, because they are lined up, they're adjusted to fit there. And trust me, it will save you a lot of time not taking these off. So obviously it's behind. Same as the boot as well. Alright, so the only other thing before you get started is drain the coolant, because you know, like, if you're doing this and it's coming out, make sure the coolant drains. I drain it from the bottom, obviously the lowest point. The straight holes between the radiator and the return pipe, that's where I drop it. I just loosen it, open it, and let it go. It's still down there now because there's always going to be some left over. Alright, so without further ado, let's get cracking. So obviously what you want to do is you want to remove these. we want to remove the stay bars. So now what I should have really done is I should have took half these off and got a head start on it. But unfortunately I didn't. Most of the sizes are a 1/2 inch or a 7/16, but it seems that somebody has put size 10 in here, which is not uncommon because when you change the anyone changes screws, you find out that they put more marble and metric in there. So I can just fold back and I'm going to do the same the first. Right, here's an idea. Count how many trains go by during this video. But at this stage I'll probably drown them out. It'll be interesting to see how many times it comes across. Now I have my tools on the side, on the inside fender there, but remember to remove them before you drop it down. I don't want to drop it on top of it. I don't want to put that in my pocket. I had a rag there, but I'm going to put it. Okay, so I'm going to remove this one actually because it's in the way. So instead of going backwards, I'll come over here and take this one off. See, I'm multitasking, get a hold of. Oh yeah, look at that. See, there's quite the spider webs in there. Actually, it almost looks like silicone. It is silicone. I thought it was a spider. I thought it was a web, like an old spider web. Huh, there's a big pile of silicone in there. It looks like a swish snot or something. It's terrible. God, who put that up there? Why? Why is there silicone up there? That's interesting. And I don't know if you can see in the video, but on this one, there's obviously a big spray all along here from the oil where it's been spitting out and absolutely covering the back of the bonnet. Absolutely violating it. Overflow bottle comes out. And now we can take the shroud out. The thing about the shroud is these little nuts, it sort of sits underneath it. That's the only thing. So it's like it's stuck on the tank. And obviously mindful coming over there as well. It's one thing taking the shroud out, especially an original one, that comes out pretty easy. It's putting the new ones in is the hard part. I'm not exactly shaped accordingly, to say the word. Alright, so now I have the shroud off, I now have access to gain and get the grill off. So what I'll do is, I won't pull the grill out. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to undo the nuts, but I have to drop the bonnet down first before I pull the grill out, because obviously the front of it sits down lower and I don't want to scratch any of it. So, for now, I'm going to take some of these out. I bet you I forgot to slide these. So I brought everything over a bit. So these here, we'll explain about these. These can be terribly easy. You break pretty easy. They're like a machined thread that's welded onto the back of the grill. Sorry for my head in my way. It's funny, I see a lot of wires in here that should be connected and I'm not. That's the second ground strap I've seen that should be supposed to be grounded, but it's not. It's not a good sign. Now, some will say, yes, you spray them first to make life easy. No, but sometimes it doesn't always work. Because when you spray some penetrating oil on some of them, it makes the grease, or whatever dirt is on it, cloggy. And the more you turn it, it just clogs up more at the back. And at the very end, it gets stuck. And tell me that hasn't happened, where it gets to the very end of the threads and the next lot stops moving. There's too much crap there. What was that? Just that. Go back and look at it. I think it was one of these. Something like that. Again, if you lose these are little small machined nuts you can get in any hardware store. Now, this is an early model, but the same thing applies for pretty much all of them. The same front, just remove the shroud and the grill. Is that tree number 2 or 3? 2? Woo! Humidity in here is terrible. Pockets are going loose. Going for a walk. Oh yeah, 2, 3, 4. Well, it's nice to have a train. Living beside the trains is nice, huh? Yeah, right. You hear them all the time. Okay. That's the last nut. There we go. So the grill is ready to come off. But I'm not going to remove it yet. Now, next trick. Your stay up here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Maybe not. So let me, when you look at your hood, you have your latch here. You have the latch that basically grips on and stays in the receiver of the thing. What we want to do is, in order, if you drop it down, the problem is though that will get clothes on you and it gets stuck. I won't get stuck anyway. Take a rag, and what we're going to do is we're just going to basically place it over the receiver. So when it drops down, it doesn't actually latch in position. It won't go anywhere. Because once you disconnect everything, you have no real way of propping up once we disconnect it here. So we need to make sure this stays free. The other option you can do, which is another good option. Oh my God, look at the size of the button there. Jeez. Is basically just to remove this. Oops, sorry, there's a massive hole. I'll show you. I'm just put this big massive one in there. Just I don't know why. I'll go get a flathead screwdriver for that. Wrong one. Go get a flathead. Hang on. The huge overcompensated bolt on this. There's no way in there this is the same thread last time. Well, that's a little one. This side is. Well, we screwed that up. So obviously here it is here, and look at the size of the nut to use for. Look. Big massive self-tapping one, like it's huge. Like this thing is like, well no, it must be like a 7/16, not 7/16, maybe a 3/8, but it's huge. Yeah, it's not very good. Now to keep that, because they've ruined the thread, there's no other way of getting it in. Alright, let's go back to this. So the next thing we want to do is, now we have that, before we pull the grill off, is before I drop the bonnet, I'm going to remove the nut that holds the prop bar on. Sometimes you find two of them on this. Because once you remove this, there's no going back. If you forget to remove this and it locks in, you'll never get it off. That's the problem. The other thing I'm going to do as well is on the side down here, there's the same size, the 1/2 inch on the sides. You have to remove them as well. Because again, once you get to the point of going to take it off, you will never gain access to it once you drop it down. Once you remove this prop bar, it's not coming, it's not going back up again. We need the ratchet spanner over here. Brought the wrong tool. washers can be put on. And we'll take these out. Now I have the ratchet spinner here. Nope, I didn't bring it. Most of the times the ratchet, not standard ratchet, won't fit in here because it's not big enough. So just be mindful, because I've done it before where you just end up banging it and you end up chipping paint or scratching. So it's best to get a ratchet spanner or just a simple spanner. Take this one off. Alright, we're nearly there. Alright, that's it. So I'm going to remove my tools. I like putting them along here, it's a handy little spot. Alright, now for the next tip. What we're going to do is we're going to drop the hood down. And when we drop it down, it doesn't lift up anymore. It's simply going to be dropped down, and then I'm going to remove it. So I'm just going to step out of the way. However, the thing is though, if you drop it down, you go to lift it, usually two-person, use two people, but if you're on your own, here's the next thing we're going to do. We're going to get a moving blanket. If you have a moving blanket or anything along that line, let me fix the camera here. Yeah. If you have a moving blanket, and what we're going to do is we're going to spread it across and actually let the hood drop on it. This in turn will actually protect it, so when you take it off and you go to pull it out, you can actually slide it back on the blanket and not actually scratch any paint. That's a good way of doing it one person. Hopefully you have a blanket. Like they're pretty cheap enough to get. I always get them from Tr6. I find it the cheapest for the biggest. And of course I get the biggest size, so I'd rather have one that's too big than too short. So now here's the important part. This is where I'm going to drop it down. So I'm going to remove the bar here, and I'm going to drop it down onto my moving blanket, making sure that the moving blanket stays outside. Down she goes. Right, so now as you can see, she's sitting on the blanket, she's protected. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come around, and I have to adjust the camera now. Sorry. Go down one more. Alright, so now we have that out, now we're free to actually remove the grill. Wiggle it out nice and slow, and we're free. Make sure we have a good place to store it again. And then just in case this, oh look at this, it scared me, I don't know what it was. What am I filming here? I don't know. Well, it used to be a bug of some sort. Maybe a hornet, looks pretty big. I don't know. Something's been in there for some time. This may fall off, so do you know what? I remove it before I drop it, because that way it can't do any damage. It's already off the car, but it can if it does fall off and you stand on it, so take it off. Now the next part we're going to do is we're going to come in, and I don't have any light, well I'm going to get a light actually, and we're going to undo the nuts on the side of the, on the bottom of the hood. Look at the light. Hopefully it doesn't die. It's magnetic, so I should be able to really stick to it. Leave it on top of it again. Alright, it's just enough in there. So now you can see we have access to the 3 bolts. That's right up in here. That's the bottom of the hood. So we can take them out completely. If you're taking this off, before you remove it, especially if you're doing it one person, always pre-plan where you're going to put it. Have a spot you want to put it in, and make sure if you don't have your noodles on it, if you don't put the noodles on it, or you put the noodles on it later on, is make sure you put it right down. This is driving me nuts already. It gets a little loose, and as soon as I go to turn it by hand, it gets stiff again. Oh my word. If you have the luxury of using pneumatic tools, then yes, I'd recommend using a pneumatic tool. I try to use, like I said, I use basic tools because not everybody has them. So if I wasn't making the videos, I could cheat. Well, not cheat, make life easy, but I don't know how it keeps. I think being inside, there won't be as much crap on the nut. But yeah, it's just the same. As soon as you unwind it so far, all the gunk that's in the threads all builds up, and then that's why you can't move it, because it always gets pushed back down the threads. So it's always important to clean them before you put them back in. Or get new ones. You can get new nuts and bolts. Just so you know, you can get them at Home Depot. Home Depot do sell them. Not every Home Depot have them, but there is a fine thread section in Home Depot. Home Hardware as well. It's a fine thread section. You will find a standard quarter. Well, basically all your nuts. You can get good lengths as well. I go to Home Depot personally, and if they're too long, I get oversized and I get the tap and die set, and I thread them longer if I need it. Or you can always cut them with a grinder. Either way, it's just a bolt of the bolt. It's a fine thread, there's nothing special about them. The only thing, the little special, and I say little special, the only thing about these is that they have an edge at the end. They're rounded, just to make it easier to just to make it originally get in the hole. Right down. But you can do the same. If you buy some, you can always stick them on the wheel and just take a little edge off the end, make a little V or a little point. This one's in between. It's sort of just enough to turn, but just stiff enough not to get by hand. Whew. Oh, I don't know why he's doing this. I think we're going to cheat again and put an extension on it. I might have something to grip onto it. Well, for now it's playing games. It's loose and tight. No, it's really tight. God. Ooh. What's that felt? Oh, I'm breaking into such a sweat in this. Almost there. There we go. Get through all the gunk phase. Once all the crap has been pushed off the treads. Yeah. Alright. One side down. Now we get to magically get to do the other side. Hopefully this side won't be as bad. So these are going to get me right-handed. One. Two. Oh, picking up the pace. Alright. Obviously this is going to be the toughest one because this is the last one to come out and has all the pressure of the pull holding it down. Because remember, your last one out is always the toughest. Although, compared to the other one I've done, it's pretty easy. There we are. All done. So before I lift it off, I'm going to get these bolts out of the way. And move the camera. Okay. Whew. Span bucket here. Alright, so now we have it up. Now we should be able to lift it. And make sure our moving blanket comes up. Over the hinge. So now we're good to remove it. Like I said, if you had two people, you could always grab the cloth at the side and pull up and the whole thing will come up. Right? I'm going to do this on my own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab as much of the blanket as I can, lift it and pull it back towards me. Just enough. Ragging pockets. I want to put myself on the TV again. Yes. Ellen, I seen your TV on your wall. I'm jealous and I got my own. So, sorry I robbed that from you, but I was jealous when I seen that. Alright. So, and then I'm going to take it off and I have a rag over there to lift it off the ground. As I said, because everything is blocked up, there should be nothing stopping it coming down. But once it stays on the moving blanket, you can slide it down. Right? Okay. And there'll be a point where you come down where it gets to pivoting and it's just going to start falling down. Again, as long as it stays on the blanket, we shouldn't do there we go. So I'm going to slide down now. Right. Now it's resting on my boots. So what I'll do is I'll put this over. And I'm going to carry this and I'm going to put it over where it belongs. So I'm going to pass in front of the camera. Right, that's it. So there's our hood that came off. Obviously when I slid it, this came up with it. But again, it's no scratch on the sides. It's a pretty handy enough job, just obviously for the patients. And like I said, I had, back here I already had a moving blanket down. So it's sitting on that. And I have the other one. But again, it's a good time, this is where you put your noodles on if you wanted to store it for a while and so on and so forth. So that's it for, I'll say your part one of engine removal. So, sorry, I'm putting the camera back in the stand. So, join me in part two, and we're going to start delving into what to remove. Obviously, we'll start off with usual, remove all our hardware as much as we can to make life easy. So, the rad will come out, the alternator is going to come off, the carburetor is going to come off, that's going to come off. Then we're going to try do the exhaust. Open up as much as we can to get down. But like I said, we'll do it over a few videos. There's a few other key things to do when removing the engine to stop it being damaged or getting stuck. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching on theoretically the hood removal. Again, any comments, questions, concerns, give me a shout. I'll help you as best I can. Subscribe to the channel if you want. It's always nice to see more subscriptions because it makes me feel like I'm doing a good job. And yeah. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next parts.